Hey there, Juan Morales here, and in today's episode we're going to talk about one of the most powerful weapons that you can use to really get the most out of your performance and to also understand where you've gotten stuck so many times in the past. And this is a concept called idea permanence. And what happens with it is that, let's say that you're charting a course or charting an idea or charting a goal that you're going towards. And what tends to happen to us is that we tend to believe that whatever our decision is about something is permanent. And what I mean by this is, not only is it a decision that we make now, but it's a decision that we're not going to be able to question later. And that usually puts a lot of pressure on that first moment to make a decision or make a choice on anything. Because what ends up happening is we think that whatever we decide that we're going to do, that's what we're going to do forever. That's the only way that things roll. And you see it a lot with people who have these career issues. They studied for a certain career and they thought that was the only career they would have in their lifetime. But now, different situations, including COVID, have forced everybody to pivot. And pivoting is what happens when idea permanence cannot stay anymore. So that first idea we had, that initial idea we had, that first test that we put out, that's all it is. It's just a test. We reserve the right to change our minds whenever we see fit. And this is a key moment to understand because so many people put all this pressure on getting stuff right from the first time that we do it, instead of understanding that we get to change the course whenever we decide that we're going to change it. So no decision is final. No path is the only path. You can start in a direction, and when you get the information, you reserve the right to change your mind, and now change the approach, change the dynamic, change the angle, change whatever you can change that's going to make a difference for you to achieve that goal. And this is what idea permanence is about. Now, how does it show up in people when you see them become very stubborn about wanting to have something done in a particular way? Now, I get the power of sort of willing yourself into that goal and to make it happen no matter what anybody tells you. But it's not the goal itself that we're changing, is that we're changing the methodology to get to that goal. If the goal is to have a successful business, and let's say our first try is to do something with cold calling, and that doesn't work, that doesn't mean we close up shop and we don't have the business. That just means that now we can try another strategy. Now we can try direct marketing, or we can try email, or we can try any of these things that make a difference for your business, especially when we are understanding that this idea of idea permanence is really what catches us, because we get caught up in this continuous cycle of thinking that whatever our ideas are, that's just going to be the way things are. So every decision becomes this permanent decision. It's this thing that we can never walk away from. Instead of understanding that nowadays, especially in the digital age, where you can try something else and there's very little cost to doing so, it allows you to pivot whenever you feel like pivoting. A lot of the issues that people have had during the days of COVID have been with living in that idea permanence of whatever their career was, or whatever their job was, or whatever their industry looked like. Because guess what? It's all meant to change. See, the only constant is change. The only thing that you know is going to happen is that things are going to be evolving. Now, idea permanence is the opposite of evolution, because it wants to keep things as they are, in that stasis way of just keeping things the way they are. And when something comes in and disrupts it, what happens is a lot of our permanent idea structures break apart, because now there's a new way of doing it. So I just want you to notice, whenever you're looking at something, think of how much are you really putting into that idea where you don't feel that you can change it later. Think of what happens when you're putting all that pressure to do one thing, instead of understanding that that's just a test. There will be another one, and another one, and another one. And this was one of the key distinctions to understand, at least for me, when coming into the online marketing space and the conversion optimization space, because this is what you're constantly doing. You're testing out new ideas. You're testing out new concepts. And the first thing you have to get out of your mind is that whole thing of idea permanence. Because what was working yesterday may not work tomorrow. And once you get that, it changes the way that you approach your goals. It changes the way that you approach your business. It changes the way that you approach your clients. Because now you know that there is no permanent idea. Another way that manifests for a lot of people, especially in the internet marketing space and the online space, is that everybody wants to get to this business where they don't have to do anything, where the whole business kind of runs by itself. But what happens is that never takes into account your competition. It never takes into account the changing landscape. So that's why, as an entrepreneur, there's always a battle going on. There's always competition. There's always a new thing. Idea permanence is the number one enemy of that, because it keeps us thinking that we're going to get to a place where everything's clear. There is no such place. Because by the time we get there, guess what? The competition is also going to be there. So idea permanence is really holding you back. Focus on understanding that you can always change your mind. You can always change the idea. There is no loss in changing your idea at the right time. But don't get stuck on a permanent idea that should not be permanent, because it'll cost you forever. That's it for me today. This is Juan Morales signing out. I'll see you on the next one.